members of the EDC who have attended today. We have quorum, and welcome to staff who are also attending. So just so everyone is aware, we are now recording. Do we have any members of the public who've signed up to watch the Just Out of Interest? No, but we are being recorded, so just be aware of that. Does anyone have a declaration of interest with relation to any item on the agenda for this meeting? Hearing none, we will proceed to my remarks. My remarks will be very brief, as I think this meeting will probably be as well. We don't have a lot of business on the agenda. It's probably a function of two things. One, it's summer, and two, we are reaching the end of the term of this council. I trust that every member of the committee knows that we will not meet in August, as there are no committee meetings that month of the year. And we will just proceed through our agenda as it is, unless there are any additions to the agenda. Seeing none, I would like a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Ray Belanger, seconder. Need a seconder. Leah, will you second? Okay, Leah Folds seconds. Any discussion of this motion? All in favor? The agenda is adopted. The next item of our agenda is the adoption of the minutes of the last meeting of the EDC on May the 25th. Those have been circulated. Are there any errors or corrections? Yes, Ray.
There's a small typo there on resolution 012-22 where Leah and I are conflated into Ray Leah. So I believe it's Leah. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I assume, Leah, you're in agreement with deconflation. All right. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes of May 25th? Leah, would you like to move that? Okay, we can't hear you, Leah. You're on mute. I can see you speaking, but you're on mute. And I thought you said yes, so you are moving to adopt the minutes from May 25th. Can I have a seconder, please, Ray? Ray? Ray?
What?
Would you second the motion?
I will second the motion.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Just waiting for the here.
Yeah, Leah is now unmuted. So,
Yes, sorry.
any discussion of this motion? All in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you. So we now move to the business portion of the meeting. The first item is an update on the Wanderer project. So I assume it's over to you, Katie.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to provide a little bit of background on this project that we're doing. So the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands, along with the town of Gananoque, jointly applied for funding through the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. They have a RED program, Rural Economic Development Program. And our application was successful. They actually told us that it ranked the highest out of all of the applications this intake period. Minister Lisa Thompson was in Gananoque a few months ago, I believe it was in March, to announce our success, although we're still waiting for the official announcement to go out. But together, the initiative is to create a multifaceted marketing program to increase tourism and resident awareness of some of the offerings in the township and in the town, and to support businesses located in our municipalities jointly. So some of the project deliverables will include blogging, written blog updates, vlogging, video blog updates, video, audio, and print content. And the content will be distributed on several digital platforms. So we entered into an agreement with the town to begin the project in April 2022. We have a project team to administer this project, and there's representatives from both municipalities on the team. So far, we've met a few times. We went through the RFP process, and we received 2 submissions of companies interested in participating in the Wanderer project. We met in June to review the submissions, and a successful candidate was selected. Through that process, earlier this month, just at the start of June, we did engage a wanderer. So there will be an identifiable individual going throughout the region, first point of view experiencing all of these unique offerings that we have to offer. We work together to create a list of site suggestions to offer to the wanderer, who will go out and capture film and photography of all of the sites. And the equipment that they have means that they're going to be able to capture some of this footage from land, sea, and air. So we're really excited to see some of the creative and unique things that they come up with. They're going to be working year round to showcase the spaces, places, and people who make our region unique and special. We've also set up new social media channels that will be dedicated to this project. So we have a new Facebook page, a TikTok account, and an Instagram profile where the wanderer will upload this content directly. And then we'll also be sharing the footage onto each of our municipal websites, social media channels, and on the shared Travel Thousand Islands website. And we will also be adding all of the content into our Driftscape tourism app. So just extending our use of that tool, we'll have all of this content. So as we receive it week by week, we'll be updating and include it on that app as well. And we're expecting to receive about 1 to 3 videos per week and 300 photos are our project deliverables, which at the end of the project, all of that is our property. We retain the rights to use that for future projects as well. So like I mentioned, we're still waiting on the ministry to do their official announcement. However, we are now launching the project, and now that the wanderer has been engaged and we've created the site list and a rough schedule, they will begin to go out to sites in August 2022, but the project runs until the end of May 2023. And so during that time, they'll be visiting local points of interest, businesses, and special events, and capturing the footage, and then we'll be sharing it and distributing it.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Katie? Welcome, Vicky.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Go ahead, Lee.
So where do we find all the websites and social links for that new the new Wanderer project?
Sure. They're all still set to draft right now until we have the first post and content to start. Like it's just an empty page right now. But if you check back in August, once we get started, there is a page called the Thousand Islands Wanderer. And it'll be on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And then leeds1000islands.ca and Gananoque's website as well. And then also travel1000islands.ca will be like our joint visitor services website will also house that content.
.ca or .com?
I'm sorry?
.ca or .com?
.ca.
Okay.
Yeah, travel1000islands.ca. Yeah, and then we'll be sharing from our TLTI channels, anything that comes out of that main Wanderer page, but really we would encourage anyone, local businesses, local residents to start sharing some of these posts as well. I think they're going to be really unique and creative things. He's got a boat and a drone, so it should be really interesting what starts to come out of it.
So I have a question. You said you met to decide the sort of sites and where the Wanderer would go. So what were the criteria in terms of things like the balance of sites within Gananoque and the township, the kinds of sites? Like, were there any criteria that were applied to this, or was it, oh, this is really neat, go there?
We did try to focus on like experiences. A lot of the businesses are part of the tourism and hospitality industry. And we did do a large focus to make sure that we're really engaging the Wanderer year round. So of course, everything, you know, in the summer is vibrant and beautiful looking with flowers and everything. But we also tried to include special events or tourism businesses that operate still during the shoulder season and over the winter as well. Yeah, it should be, I think, a pretty equal mix between the town and the township. And then it will also be a mix of photos and videos and sort of what comes out of those visits. Yeah.
Is the list public?
No.
And how do people or companies, sites that are on the list find out that they're on the list? Does someone drive up my driveway one day and say, hi, I'm the Wanderer?
No, they would be engaging the business owner before they arrive. We do have a small budget in case there's any admission fees or costs associated with their visit. They're not expected to be waiving any fees or anything as part of the project. And yeah, either the Wanderer or a member of the staff at one of the municipalities would be writing or phoning ahead to make the arrangements and make sure you're open and ready to accept the visitor. So they would know in advance.
Any other questions? Okay, sounds like a very interesting initiative. Thank you, Katie. On to item 7.2, the update on the recommendations that the EDC made to council. I believe that it's April meeting.
Yes, so through you again, this was just an update. After our discussion here at the EDC committee in March, we made some recommendations to the council table. It went to council in June after we had time to engage with our village improvement groups. We got some ideas and recommendations. So the recommendation went that council approve the recommendation of the Economic Development Committee to reallocate up to $4,000 from the EDC budget, which was intended for a demand study for an abattoir, and instead to reallocate those funds $1,000 each to the Rockport Development Group, Sealy's Bay and Area Residents Association, Lansdowne Association for Revitalization, and the Lyndhurst Rejuvenation Committee, based on the estimates that those groups provided. And council approved that recommendation. So the funds have now been released. Just at the end of June, they were released. The improvement groups have been asked, if possible, to provide a project update. So we've asked that they provide that update by Wednesday, September 14th, so that we can share those updates here at our September meeting on September 28th. And in October, they will provide some final accounting on how the funds were spent, and any unspent funds would be expected to be returned.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. I assume there's no update on some of the discussions that we had and the recommendations we made around walkways and the wall in the village and things like that.
That was part of a separate report, but it did go to council as well to provide that recommendation on to the county during their deliberations. And I do believe that they have been to Lansdowne to assess the site since. And so they're beginning to take those into consideration as part of their longer term planning. Yeah.
In case anyone hasn't noticed, there are traffic counters out along Prince Street and the extension, right, Terry?
Yes, Madam Chair, that is true. There's more to those than a traffic counter. There's actually a lot of feedback information comes from that. And the operations department will engage with such places as the OPP should traffic be exceeding those limits at certain times a day, more so than others, namely in the morning when people are rushing late for work, perhaps, or the other way around, maybe rushing to get home. But from what I understand, they're going to move them around, and to places that do trigger an exceeded speed, they'll come back around and set it up again another time frame to see if it was just a seasonal issue or whether it is a concurring issue all the time.
Oh, interesting. So it's about speed, not volume.
It's both.
Okay.
It is both.
Any questions? Okay, hearing and seeing none. We'll move on to item number 7.3, the Bill Thake Award nomination. This is an annual award which is given out at the Economic Development Summit that is hosted by the county, usually in end of November, early December of every year. And each year, the Economic Development Committee is canvassed for suggestions for nominees. So Katie, I assume you're going to tell us what we're supposed to do.
Sure. So we received this package from the county. They're looking for us to nominate a leader in our community. They noted that this program was introduced in 2011. It's an annual award. It's also been called the Warden's Award. And the purpose is to recognize and celebrate a volunteer who has shown outstanding commitment and leadership, resulting in the growth and vitality of the Leeds and Grenville economy. They are asking individuals, councils, and economic development committees to identify some candidates for the annual award. And so we've been asked to talk today about who is deserving of this award in our municipality. Many volunteers help to improve the economic vitality of Leeds and Grenville. The goal is to honor them for their ongoing efforts. And the deadline to submit nominations is September 30th. However, we're looking for nominations to come from this committee of council and then to be endorsed by council at the September meeting. And then we will submit in time for the September 30th deadline in order for the award to be presented at the Economic Development Summit, as you noted, which this year, save the date, it's taking place on November 18th. And I just looked through a few records. We have had a few past winners in recent years. Wendy Merkley was a co-winner in 2020. Last year in 2021, there was also, we made the short, it wasn't a winner, but sort of their short list. And then I couldn't find a year, but it said like a few years back that Terry Dawson from the Green Gecko in Lyndhurst was also recognized. So we're just looking for, if anybody has any ideas of nominations, the eligibility criteria, they must be a citizen of Leeds and Grenville. The award is for an individual leader. So the nominee could be a committee chair or a group leader, but not the committee as a whole, just an individual. And it's meant to be a person, not a business. And they're looking for a person who has demonstrated leadership and involvement in economic development within their respective community or area over a period of years in a volunteer capacity. And practicing economic development professionals and current elected officials would be exempt from the award. And so I wanted to open for discussion and see if we had any candidates that we'd like to nominate.
Okay, thank you. I think just to provide a little extra information too, last year it was Sylvan and York Furniture who were nominated
From Freshmart?
from Freshmart.
Yes.
So when we have been nominating in my time on this committee, we've talked not just about individuals. Of course, there are individuals who are nominated, but they are generally tied to a business of some sort, as opposed to, you know, as someone who does economic development by cutting the grass. So we've tended, it's been our practice generally to tie the nominations to people who've made broad contributions for sure, but they have had a specific business, just so you know. So with that bit of background, I will open the floor for any questions for Katie, any discussion, any ideas as to who would be good. So this discussion does not preclude individual members of this committee making suggestions to you subsequent to this meeting, I suppose.
Yes, I was thinking perhaps the clerk could assist us with the wording so that we could, if necessary, continue our decision making perhaps over email, but still ahead of the September council deadline.
Right, because it would be useful for members of the committee who aren't able to attend today. So Chris Cunningham, for example, the mayor. We have other members of the committee who are not here to give their input. So, but we can have a preliminary discussion for sure. So are there any thoughts or ideas? Yes, Councillor Foti.
Madam Chair, just clarification, Katie, what was the cutoff date for nomination? September 3rd?
The deadline is September 30th, but it would
30th.
first need to go through the September council meeting, which would be on September 12th.
Right.
Any thoughts? We've never nominated anyone from the northern portion of the township in my recollection.
Terry Dawson.
Oh, yes. How could I forget? Thanks.
And also this goes to an individual, not to a like a group.
It is an individual award. Yeah. But if there were, I mean, I'm freelancing here, but if there were a group that had an individual who was, you know, the titular leader of the group, that would be appropriate. Does that spawn an idea, Vicky?
It does. I just have to check on the eligibility for the person. And I was thinking about some of the people that are involved with the FAB nature camp.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh. Sorry, I was thinking about maybe some people that are involved with the FAB nature camp.
Oh, right. Okay. Any- Yep.
From the northern area of the township, some volunteers that I've been working closely with recently are some suggestions to consider. Although they are business owners, I think as individuals, they still do contribute to the community and economic development quite a bit. Would be Derek and Cindy from Ridgeway in Sealy's Bay. They're organizing, well, they have been doing quite a few fundraisers and business activities in the village. And they're also organizing a truffle shuffle in September. And I believe at Easter, they did a big community event as well. There's probably more things that I'm not thinking of, but that could be something to consider.
They were the subject of positive discussion last year when we did this,
Okay.
just so everyone knows. So that could be a name that could be put. Yes, Councillor Fode.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There was a couple of names mentioned last year. I'm not so sure that they came in after the deadline, as opposed that they became part of a small pool of options.
Right.
And perhaps that should be brought back around again. I won't mention them here today just to make sure that they do
Yeah.
qualify for eligibility, but it involved both the north and the west.
Okay.
We've also set our bar personally here in the township pretty high with our track record of Terry Dawson, Wendy Markley, and Yerlick and Sylvan Fernatich.
Mhm.
We would we'd also aspire, I assume, for the next
Yeah.
candidate to aim as high.
Yeah.
Which I don't think would be hard to do, given the pool of applicants we have to choose from. For those that,
Thinking
sorry.
out, just thinking out loud, I agree with you. Please finish.
No, I was just gonna say on a side, for those that don't know, this Bill Thake Award, Bill Thake was the longest serving reeve ever in the province of Ontario. 51 or 2 years, I believe. And he was a businessman. He ran a refrigeration business in Westport. I had the pleasure of knowing him personally, and he ran the business the way he ran politics, top notch, well-respected guy. And I think for that reason, the Reeves, I'm not sure if any wardens, if there was any amalgamations at the time. But the Reeves and councils back in the eras certainly had the respect for him. And I think that's what brought this award to fruition. They thought they would honor him and Leeds Grenell through this method.
Thank you.
It's worked well.
Someone whose name I don't believe has come across this table before, and I'm not sure if he is eligible by virtue of his residency, but would be Dave Ewart, Thousand Islands Kayaks.
Mhm.
He's also quite active in.
I'm sure if every one of the community groups were to put their heads together, we'd have a list to pick from.
Mhm.
Because they, in my eyes, are more in tuned
Yeah.
with each little community. And but there's always individuals, as mentioned, that once you jog a person's mind as to that name, everybody lights up and goes, oh yeah. So I don't think there will be a shortage. We just got to make sure that everybody's aware of the cutoff time. And on that same note, which will be mentioned in update, but as you mentioned, Madam Mayor, there's no committee of the whole or council meeting in August. So that's a bit of a pitfall as far as getting the word out for the last cutoff date.
So in terms of the process, given the fact that, we're sort of thinking on the fly here and people would want to reflect, let me suggest that individual members of the committee submit their suggestions to, I guess, you, Katie. And then those suggestions would have to be vetted. You're looking for a recommendation from this committee. Madam Clerk, would it be feasible for us to have an email discussion of this, or would that contravene the Municipal Act and various other things that we have to keep our eye on?
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I recommend that up to your discretion, call a meeting for just after the committee of the whole meeting on September 6th. So you could have 2 meetings in September. So one being September 7th and then one later at the end of September, just so we can pass a motion at another ACTEV meeting and then put forward that motion to the council meeting on September 12th.
So to be frank, given the fact that our regular scheduled September meeting is very close to the municipal election, members of the committee may want to consider the idea that we actually meet on September the 7th as our September meeting. Are there any views on that? Do I see any shaking of the head? Any? Okay. Thank you. if people are in agreement with that, we would need a motion, a formal motion to change the September meeting of the Economic Development Committee from whatever date it is to September the 7th. Moved by Ray Belanger. Can I have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second.
Thanks, Mickey. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. So Ray, you'll have to sign the motion. Okay, so we will
Perhaps we could put a deadline maybe to submit via email, and then we can
Yeah.
compile the nominations for our review. Perhaps, let's see.
this is the kind of thing that if people don't think of it soon, they won't think of it at all.
Yeah,
So I would suggest, and especially since there is sort of a hiatus in August, I would suggest a deadline of, let's say, a week from today. Let's put the pedal to the metal. Okay,
so we will distribute this information regarding the eligibility and the nomination process throughout the membership and ask for
exactly.
ideas to be sent back. 1 week from today would be, let's maybe do to the end of the week by the end,
by
let's
the end.
say 4 p.m. August 5th.
Yeah, because Monday is a holiday, so who thinks on Mondays?
So which date are we choosing? The 3rd? Or the 5th?
5th. For nominations to be submitted.
Next week, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Katie. So now we move on to information items. Staff update. Katie, I guess you're it. Once again.
Okay, just have a few brief items for update today. One thing I wanted to mention was the special event permit. We had talked about it sort of as it was implemented in August. I just wanted to update that it's well underway and event organizers are becoming familiar with the process. To date, we've issued 5 permits. We have 2 under review right now and an additional 3 files open, which will come under review once the applications are complete. And I wanted to just mention a few upcoming events that we're aware of through the permitting process. They include a kids fishing tournament on August 13th in Lyndhurst, American Graffiti, classic car show and live music. That's taking place in Sealy's Bay on August 20th, rain date of August 27th. The Lyndhurst Turkey Fair is returning on Saturday, September 17th. And the Truffle Shuffle, the run through Sealy's Bay, is returning on September 25th. We're also drafting an applicant guide right now. And so once that's ready, that will be released, and it's sort of a companion piece to the application to assist event organizers to just follow along and assist with completing their application. As well, our staff is available to help anyone with that application as well. I also wanted to mention visitor services. There's volunteers at Rockport Customs House. They're working in 2 shifts to keep the facility open to visitors to help answer any questions or offer directions and show some of the photos and history of the Rockport Customs House. So that's open daily from 9 until 5. And of course, we're working jointly with the town of Gananoque to operate the visitor center. New this year, we also have 2 mobile tourism ambassadors. 2 of the summer students, they have sort of a little counter. They can flip up anywhere they go, and they have some literature and maps and things to distribute. So keep an eye out. You might see them at some of the special events or just standing by some of the points of interest throughout the township. We also, we're just wrapping up. We ran some seniors programming in the month of June and July. The Seniors Expo was held on Tuesday, June 14th. And it was fairly well attended. It was our first event in person coming out of the pandemic. So we were quite happy with the attendance. Sorry. We also did a bus trip to a play at the Thousand Islands. We did a few lunch and learn sessions with victim services. We ran a senior self-care workshop in Lansdowne and in Sealy's Bay. We've been doing technology training weekly in Lansdowne and in Lyndhurst. And the YMCA has been offering some exercise classes in Sealy's Bay. Right now. We're also collecting feedback on short-term rentals. Many municipalities, including the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands, are trying to determine how to best deal with the opportunities and challenges associated with short-term rentals. Local ability to zone land, regulate businesses, and create nuisance rules like noise bylaws are some of the tools that enable municipalities to regulate short-term rentals. Local circumstances, community goals, and input from residents to typically determine the specific course of action taken by a municipality. So we are collecting feedback right now. We have a survey available online, as well as physical copies of the survey are available here at the township office, as well as all 3 library branches. And the feedback surveys will be collected from July 18th until September 12th. So we invite anyone interested to find that survey online at www.leeds-thousand-islands.ca/short-term rentals. We appreciate any feedback collected through that avenue. I also just wanted to sort of close the loop on the Lyndhurst Sealy's Bay and District Chamber of Commerce. They had a very successful event on June 5th, the Rural Agricultural Expo. There were several hundred attendees at the event, and the EDC had allocated $2,000 towards that event. So I just wanted to report back that it was used towards print and digital marketing and signage for the event. Now we're working with the chamber towards a mobile tourism kiosk. We are getting ready to prepare a site for it in Furnace Falls Park, as well as at the Sealy's Bay Harbor, to be able to park it there. They're sort of designing the trailer, and it will be wrapped so it's quite identifiable. Visitors will be welcome to walk up and receive information. And it is a trailer, so it could be relocated to go to community events or events outside of our community to bring information. So we are working on that right now, and I think probably in the next month or 2 or into the early fall, we should see that come to fruition. A little update. We were successful in an application for Digital Main Street 4.0. This is the 4th intake. So we now have funding for staff support to support local businesses in creating or enhancing their online presence. So that could be creating an online store or like improving their social media. And the staff person can also help business owners apply for a Shop Here grant, which is up to $2,500 for the business to help create their website. We are developing right now our fall and winter community recreation guide. We've already met with the library to recommit to our quality programmings. We're looking right now for any new volunteers or instructors, anybody who wants to come and share their talents with others is encouraged to get in contact. We have facility space available. We can help with the online registrations, marketing the programs. So if you're interested in teaching or engaging with others, please get in touch with our staff and we will help create some programming. And then a few dates just to be aware of. We will be hosting an OLG recognition event. So our community grant program is funded with some dollars from OLG. So the grant recipients and elected officials and representatives from OLG will be on hand in September. I believe it is September 15th. And we will also be hosting our volunteer recognition event. So all members of the this committee of council would be invited to that. So save the date. It's going to be held on Friday, November 4th. And that's the end of my update, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions for Katie? This will be the first volunteer recognition dinner in 3 years, I believe. So 3 years of budget can go into the menu. Just kidding. Councillor Foti, how about a brief council update if possible?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Katie covered a few things there, which is great. Maybe most newsworthy recently, that was actually mentioned by my FM on their radio feed this morning, that the Thousand Island Gananoque Chamber of Commerce has a new general manager in the person of Jan Murray, previously from Brockville. So I'm sure there's a lot of excitement there among business owners because Jan is no stranger to this business, and that'll be a great asset to the Thousand Island Gananoque Chamber. Katie had mentioned the Lyndhurst Turkey Fair. What I did want to say was the special events policy, as Katie would know better than most, was a little contentious in its initial feed out for people to understand, especially organizations that are primarily run by volunteers. There's a lot of trepidation to change, especially with only weeks, days, or months ahead of an event. I'm proud to say I'm more so. Katie is pleased in the staff to say that the first events that came through on those, namely the Sealy's Bay July 3rd weekend, because they couldn't get anybody licensed to set off fireworks on July 1st. So it was moved to July 3rd. Hugely successful day with great weather. And then, of course, most recently, the Lansdowne Fair. Likewise, huge crowds, great weather, which for any outdoor event, as anybody can imagine, the weather plays a predominant role. So looking forward to the Lyndhurst Turkey Fair to do the same. I suspect none less. Their track record for success speaks for itself. Municipal elections, papers from the clerk, Megan, can be attained by anyone right now. The cutoff date, I believe, is August the 19th. Is that right, Megan? With the election being held municipally in the province on October 24th. So anybody that's ever had any aspirations of being on council, wants to get back on council, wants to get reelected, the council or the mayor's chair, by all means do so. I'm a large proponent in democracy. So, you know, it's always, excuse me, healthy to have an election rather than a coronation. So I know a number of names have been put in. Maybe I better get my glasses on to read some of this. As far as their planning department, I believe Marnie's away on holidays right now as well. And there's no change there in the planning department. They're run off their feet trying to keep up, let alone get caught up. There's a lot of applications in there. It'll at least meet or exceed the last year or two, which were also on a large trajectory then. The other thing that comes about with such is a lot of people building adding, changing without permits. That is also, those numbers are high. Might I just ask people that please reach out, even if it was in error or otherwise, and see what you need to do. Most of those projects have not gone amiss. Our staff are around the township daily, and they're being flagged, those properties that are building or making changes, and somebody will come door knocking someday to have you catch up. And as mentioned, there's no committee of the whole or council meeting in the month of August. A lot of staff holidays. The staff needs a break, if nothing more than to get caught up. The international plowing match is fast approaching. I know North Grenville hosting and Kempville is advertising a lot where they can. That those dates are September 20th to 24th. And I did reach out to our mayor. I didn't correspond with her earlier today because I just hadn't to verify whether she was coming. So I did after I arrived here. And this is what I received back in a text form from our mayor. The request for the park bench was made to the county. It will be considered within the next year's budget. There will also be a presentation for a regional tourism strategy, but we will not know if it can be executed until a subsequent presentation is made to discuss budget. For context, Thousand Island Chamber and Thousand Isles Accommodation Partners spend $350,000 per year to market our area. To market the entire county will be a costly exercise. There will also have been an update in September regarding building permits, new home stats, etc. And Marnie is off on holidays. I don't think there's lots others I could mention. Needless to say, this time of year, our works department are extremely busy. Namely, they're executing all the projects that the budget approved last fall. Currently, they're doing an extensive redo of Taylor Road West as we speak, along in conjunction with the County of Frontenac, who abuts us at the end of that T interchange. And then there's all kinds of countless other projects you'll see going on and around the township with the works department, besides their day-to-day usual requirements in summer months. And might I give a thumbs up to our summer students? You see them out and about. Yesterday, I believe it was, I saw them mowing grass on Ebenezer Cemetery on Highway 2, just west of Lansdowne again. And they do an excellent job. They've cleaned up a lot of areas, as they usually do, around the parks that get missed with lawnmowers. They go in with whippersnippers and literally physically remove brush and grass. And so a lot of the tidiness you see in the township is a credit to our summer students who work tirelessly. I meet them virtually any morning that they're heading north. I meet them coming in, and they're always about making our township a little more beautiful. Other than that, I just want to say, and maybe wrapping up, it's good to see our American friends back again. We have a lot of taxpayers that are American citizens here, own land, cottages, waterfront properties. It's good to see them back. You know, it's a nice, pleasant uplift in spirit, if not for finances, just to have them back in the area. And I think all the businesses are reflecting that. Any business I've talked to, they're extremely happy. They're not saying the numbers are back to where they were pre-COVID, but I think they're happy that with the numbers they have currently.
Thank you very much, Councillor Foti. Any questions for Councillor Foti about the council update? Seeing none, is there any other business? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn, noting that our next meeting will be on September the 7th as opposed to the 28th, as appears on today's agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn? Vicky, would you like to move to adjourn?
I moved to adjourn.
Okay, may I have a seconder? Leah, thank you. Any discussion of the motion? All in favor? All right, we are adjourned. Have a good August, everyone. And see
Thank
you
you.
in September as the song
Likewise.
goes.
Take care, everybody. See you in September.
Bye-bye.